is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Guess what I saw this morning in Virginia? I'm wearing, if you're watching YouTube, I'm wearing, oh, you can't see me. I'm wearing a snow shirt with all the peanut gallery. It was
Yeah.
snowing for the
Fi-
first time all season in Virginia.
Finally got snow, man. I hear a lot of people say, yeah, I'm glad we ain't gotten the snow. I mean, I kind of like a decent snow every, once a year, maybe even twice. I'm not talking like 15, 16, 17 inches. I mean, every couple of years, that's fine. But 4, 5, 6 inches is enough to get me out of work for the day. I mean, I kind of like that kind of stuff.
You're talking to a teacher here, so snow is
I mean,
like
y'all get enough
Christmas
days off.
tree,
Y'all
Christmas
get enough days
cards.
off anyway. So snow days aren't nothing to y'all.
They're more than you think, man. You know when you get frustrated with your kid and you're like, I want to send them to school. Well, we keep getting them, and then we give them to you back to you for a while. Take it. Nah, I like what I do. But yeah, it's funny. Everybody's like, "Oh, teachers, we like them. We're worse than the kids usually." I'll see people like texting and messaging. Where there's a weather guy up here who he caters basically to teachers, and he's usually pretty close. He's like, "Yeah, we're getting nothing this year." And so far, he's the only time we had it. I had COVID, so I had to stay inside the one fake snow
Yeah,
day we got. I was like, "Come
it's
on."
unfortunate. I'm not because some of the stories my daughter tells, I'd be looking for as many days off as possible if I was a teacher.
Yeah, I'm just getting back from my weekend off, my weekend respite down in middle of the state with a buddy, so it's always good. I was telling JJ Wing before I got to see Ray Lewis and Derek Brooks, two guys who I love to play. They were monster animals. Saw them this weekend, and that was pretty cool to hear them talk. And I also found out that Ray Lewis was once interested in playing maybe for Florida State, but they're like, hey, we got this good guy named Derek Brooks. I don't know what's going to happen, so the rest is
think they
history.
could think if you could put both those players on the same field together. I mean,
That would be disgusting.
I feel like at that, what's the difference between one linebacker and having two great linebackers? I mean, I feel like you
It'd be
would just
amazing.
need it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they both could have been great either way. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have been great no matter where they were at, who they playing with.
I mean, those two guys, oh my goodness. It'd be almost like what we're heading in today, talking about trades and signings with nothing fantasy related. But, my excited level is, and everybody's going like, hey, what's up? The Dolphins just traded away a third round and Hunter Long for Jalen Ramsey, who everybody's like, oh, I had one guy in one league picked up the Dolphins defense. Blaine grabbed the Dolphins defense like that. And I was like, I hope they're better. I like Fangio. Jalen Ramsey he looked a little off last year. He got burnt a lot.
I mean, it was 8 years.
Mhm.
Maybe he's slowing down a little bit. I mean, you can't be the best forever. I mean, it might not be that shutdown corner like he was in the past, but I'm sure he's still still like to have him on one side of the field.
Yeah, so it was countered back with, yeah, if you had to play on the other side of that Rams offense, maybe you wouldn't try very hard either. It's like, oh,
The whole team was bad. I mean,
yeah, Cam Akers
um,
exception.
Donald didn't have a great year, but it's not like you would turn down Donald by any
Oh,
stretch of the means, right?
no, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, all right, yeah, Donald, come on. I'll take you no matter how you played last year.
Yeah, so hey, we've talked for a while. We're the Fantasy Curious. Hit us up anywhere. We want to hear from you. We like all the likes. If you're pushing like on any of those places, share as well. I always get frustrated. I was like, man, don't just like what you're saying on there. Listen to what you go through. If I like a podcast or I like something, I try to at least listen to it to support them, knowing what we do, knowing that. So share us, like us, or if you get a lot of likes, if you want some stickers, I got stickers here. I'm willing to ship off to people who want to support us and share us anywhere. We have them. We got them for a year ago. And working hopefully to get some T-shirts out, or at least one for two of us. I have a sticker I got custom made personally on the back of the minivan going everywhere. So as I'm rolling down, got a minivan sticker. But this week we're going to talk about the next 2 weeks. Really are the stories write themselves. We don't have to do any work. There is not a lot of work involved. It's free agency period. Monday is going to be the tampering period. Monday at lunchtime, probably about 12:01. There's going to be about 7 deals magically signed that were never talked about or agreed upon before. Agreed on that were never talked about before 12:01, which is hilarious within that. And then Wednesday, I think at 4 or something like that, is when you can officially sign the contract.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been talking off the. I mean, you ain't got enough time to just take like a month. There's too much to do. You can't literally take a month off. I mean, it's kind of you got to be working on this stuff because I mean, honestly, the season like getting ready. I don't want to say it's getting ready to start, but the season technically will get ready to start soon. I mean, it's I mean, you got to get as much time, these guys in the organization as possible, and every day helps. So if you can get these guys locked up, ready to go, save a week or two. I mean, that's better for the team. I'm sure nobody mind.
Couple things I never thought about, but I heard mentioned while I was listening to another podcast over the weekend. I think it was on Sirius or XM maybe, but they were talking about something to think about as we're thinking about where guys could go, which will probably do more of a speed round, is salary cap. Some teams have diddly squat in cap, like the Saints. They're in like old 49ers salary cap purgatory.
Yes, I mean that's why it's hard for me to kind of predict, where these guys would go. And all you got to sit there, you got to figure out were the other players free agents, or the other players, what's their contract like? Do they even need running backs? Well, what's the team's salary cap? That's a lot of work. I don't know if I'm really willing to do. Um,
One day you will.
I mean, if I was a general manager,
Retirement
sure, I'd
doing.
love to do it, but I'm just not a businessman.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really not my special. When I start seeing numbers, I'm like, blah blah. I'm not a math guy, so
That's why
it's
we're a
not
good
really.
team. I think like this kind of stuff intrigues me. Like I can think and fanoodle in numbers and scheduling and stuff. And my problem is though I overlook the numbers because I overanalyze. I get too excited because the Bears have 75 million in salary cap space. So why don't they just sign everybody? Which means I think they're going to be on the defensive side after what they just did. Which I'll pull up that numbers. That was pretty amazing. We'll get that. But the Bills and the Saints. Bills are at under 19 million. They're in trouble. Saints are at 25 million. The Browns, because they're paying Captain Massage a lot, they're under 7 million.
No,
But
but it's like, I mean, it doesn't matter who I listen to or what I read or anything. Everybody says the same thing. The salary cap is fake. These guys are going to do whatever they want. So, I mean, you can say the Bills have 19 million. Come next week, they magically somehow managed to sign a great player to some outrageous contract, and they cleared $37 million in cap by releasing one guy that made like $7 million. I mean, it's
and that's
it's kind of crazy.
a week ago. My boys were supposedly over by a ton. Now we're 11 million under because they gave a lot of people signing bonuses. So what I don't
Yeah,
understand is
they
why don't you give everybody signing bonuses? What's the problem here?
they restructured. I mean, the Cowboys have been restructuring Dak's contract. So they just keep pushing this money back, and farther, farther, farther. These guys do whatever they want. I don't want to hear them say they don't have the money. If they wanted to do it, they would find a way to do it.
Well, speaking of, before we jump into these free agents, the number one draft pick, we said the Bears were going to get a haul. I turned on NFL Network this afternoon and they said, here is the play that just got the Bears got them a number one receiver and a whole bunch of players. And they showed the Houston Texans blowing it all by winning the game on that really long pass.
Yeah.
Where they wouldn't have done so. I don't think it would have changed much, to be honest. The Bears would have probably traded the number 2 pick. But here's the trade. The Bears get the number 9 overall pick, the number 61 overall pick from Carolina as well. To me, this is DJ Moore. And the Panthers get the 1.1. Oh, wait, sorry. They also get the Panthers 24th 2024 first round pick, their 2025 second round pick, and the Panthers get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Panthers, want the number 1 pick, I mean, kudos to you. Go get your guy. If you want him, go get him. I mean, it doesn't really. What have they done with DJ Moore? I mean, they haven't really
Yeah.
done much. They're losing anyway. So, I mean, you need a quarterback. I mean, it's been 4
Who's CJ
years.
Stroud going to throw to?
It doesn't. Who cares? You can find somebody. You can find a receiver in the second round.
Oh,
You
I
can
got some
find
guys coming
receivers
up.
in the third round. So, I mean, you don't need just top 10 picks. Not everybody's a top 10 pick. There's a lot of
Yeah.
great players that came later in the draft. You just got to make sure you hit on those guys. But kudos to the Bears for getting what they wanted. Kudos to the Panthers for getting what they wanted. Like you said, same way in fantasy. If you want it, just go get it. I mean, if you got to overpay a little bit, overpay a little bit. I mean, it's it's all relative, man.
I got to get my dynasty brain is dead. I'm working with this guy on a trade, and I can't seem to think of a counter. Like everything's there, it's just missing a piece. And I told him, I said, my brain is poo. I got to go looking at things and figure some stuff out. But yeah. So DJ Moore to the Bears. How does that affect? What do you think?
Who knows? I mean, I want to say it could be great, but is the passing offense really going to be that much more Chicago? What if Chicago is the Ravens with Lamar Jackson? We still love Justin Fields, but we don't love those receivers,
Sure.
and we love Komet. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's the same thing now, but it looked really similar last year. So how much volume is it really going to be? I feel like probably still he's going to. I think he had more volume in Carolina than what he's going to have in Chicago, but maybe the touchdowns go up a little bit. Maybe he can catch those. Maybe he can finally get to double digit touchdowns, but not get as many yards, and it kind of evens out. I mean, we'll see, but just how much passing volume is going to be there.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think the Bears are going to sneak in and maybe snack one of these free agent receivers just to throw in there with him and Claypool and oh, what's his name out of Tulane or TC? What's his name?
Oh, Mooney.
Mooney. But yeah, I think the biggest winner in this trade, honestly, is Justin Fields. They're going to get some pieces for him and let him grow, and he doesn't have to worry about are they going to draft somebody with the first pick. Like CJ Stroud already said, do not draft me. I am not going to go play and take Justin Fields' job. He's doing great. He's my boy. But the Panthers
Well,
get the number one.
I don't think CJ Stroud really had anything to worry about because I'm pretty sure Chicago wasn't trading Justin Fields at any point. I just
There was
don't.
probably
I
about
don't believe
a
that.
hot minute they were
I don't.
thinking.
I don't believe it. Maybe they
Yeah,
might have thought about it. I mean, you could think about trading everybody, but at the end
yeah.
of the day, you're like, I mean, we're just if we trade him, we're just literally starting over. I mean, we've got maybe have a foundation now. Why would we tear it down and just start back over?
So based upon this thought, we're looking at a Frank Reich team. Does that switch Bryce Young and CJ Stroud? Because he likes bigger quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, if he likes bigger quarterbacks, I mean, it
Will
couldn't Anthony
Levis
Richardson
should have been
be
10.
could Anthony Richardson could be in there too. I mean, like I mean, any of these guys can go number one because if they don't go number one, they're going to go number two, and whichever one doesn't go two, it's going to go four.
Yeah.
So I mean, all four of these guys are going to be gone by pick six. So,
And they're going to throw a lot of those too.
I mean,
More than likely. But
yeah.
yeah, I
So
think uh, it's interesting. It's like Terrence Marshall. People, he's his stock right now. If you have Terrence Marshall and someone's offering you the ranch, go for it. If you can get him on the cheap, go for it. Like it's that double edged. Like Terrence Marshall could not be the answer. They could bring in somebody else to help out. They could trade for someone. I, who
I mean,
knows?
are you really confident in any of these quarterbacks coming right in on that team and being good?
Nope, but they must be because if not, it's Matt Corral or Sam
Oh no,
Darnold.
I'm as Carolina, I would be ecstatic. But I'm talking as us as fantasy players, I'm not excited about any of these quarterbacks going to Carolina and probably and most likely starting immediately. That team is not very good.
I mean, they have 22 million cap space. If I was them, I'm going to sign the best. Like, I have them, spoiler alert, I have them signing Gasicki because he's a pass catching tight end. I have them signing Juju because he's a receiver. Sign a handful of people for the new kid to throw to that are decent people so that at least he's not like trying to throw to Terrence Marshall and a bunch of putzes who are XFL
I
or
mean,
USFL washouts.
honestly, if you've got Bryce Young, I would worry less about people throwing to immediately and worry about people protecting him
Hmm.
immediately. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure what their offensive line is like. But I mean, if you're getting a smaller quarterback, your offensive line better be really big and really good.
Yeah, and man, I tell you what, the more and more I read, I am starting to fall in love with Richardson.
No, I mean, what's not to fall in love with? A
Oh,
bigger, stronger, and faster. I mean, that's
my
what it is.
1.2 might be going Richardson. I still got some thoughts in that, but okay,
You
let's go
said
to
there was no chance Richardson was going to catch these guys, and here we are 2 weeks later. You already caught them.
keeper. I gotta stop reading things, and then I'm sitting there like, well, because I have that choice. I have the 1.2. I think I told you I have the 1.2 and the 1.5. So either I could just take two running backs and just take the leftover, Young, Stroud, or Richardson. What all three of them could stink. All three of them could be great. 2 out of 3. I could pick 99. There's only probably 1/3 of them generally are going to be good. So I could pick the wrong one. Richardson's raw. That's the catch.
Happens every year, man.
Yep. So guys that signed we had a bunch of guys tagged. So I'm gonna start with the tagged guys here. We had Josh Jacobs tagged by the Raiders, Tony Pollard tagged by the Cowboys. Barkley tagged by the Giants. Ingram tagged by the Jaguars. And I'm leaving one guy out to talk about in a moment. But Jacobs, Pollard, Barkley. That's 3 running backs. I think the tag was like 10.7, something
Yeah,
like
$10
that.
million.
For a running back?
I mean, granted, it's only 1 year, and if you're
Yeah.
a high end running back, $10 million is. I mean,
But
it's
they don't
not
make
that.
that. They make about 6 on a second contract. 6.5, but that's for 4 or 5 years. But
When you're, yeah, yeah, sure. That's like so high end running back. Like Zeke got 15 million. McCaffrey got 15 million. So these guys were getting 15, starting to get 15 million. Barkley would have gotten that if it wouldn't have been for the injuries. So I mean, Barkley he might not get 15, but Barkley still might get signed, 12, 13 million. So I mean, I don't think 10 million is crazy for a 1 year deal and a good running back.
okay, you got Jacobs, Pollard, Zeke. Of those three, which player slash team, if only one of them were to get the bag of cash, who would be the? I mean, I think we got to eliminate Pollard unless Zeke gets cut, right? Because Zeke
But
right now, Zeke,
I mean, Pollard might get paid, but I don't know
he won't get
if
the
it's,
big
I don't
pay.
think he's going to get I don't think any of these guys are going to get huge dollars. But if I was to say, I'd say honestly, I think Josh Jacobs deserves the most. I mean, I feel like he has the biggest workload out of any of these guys. He's performed well. He never really got hurt, I don't think. I mean, he's always been on the field. So I think if any of them deserve it, I think Josh Jacobs deserves, the big contract.
And I mean, I believe I was
Well, I
looking.
mean, they all deserve it.
Dude, the
Don't get me wrong.
Raiders have 43 million in cap space, so they could front load this like a champ. Be like, hey, Josh, we're giving you 25 this year. Do something stupid like that. I don't think they would because that would just open the floodgates. But and the Cowboys would be tough for them because they're stuck with Zeke for 2 more years. This year he's 11 million dead cap. Next year he's 6 million dead cap. After that it's 1. So that's when I think at age 30 is when he's done with them for sure. So Pollard is a tough one to sign long term. Like this year, I think they're going to be paying $20 million to their running backs, or
Yeah,
they're going
I
to be
mean,
paying 10 million to one and cutting another and losing 11 million. Or it's insane.
man, that's
Um,
what Jerry does. Like, Jerry's in his own little world. I mean, Jerry does what Jerry does.
Two little things within that though. I was talking to a Giants fan at work. Barkley getting the tag. I'm sorry. Yes, Jones. So Daniel Jones got paid 4 years. What was it? 9. I just lost his salary. He got paid. Paid a good bag of cash. It was 4 years. And I
4 years,
can't.
160 million.
There we go. 46 million. Thank you. And did that sort of screw over Barkley, or did it help? Like, where does like I was thinking like Dan Jones got paid. Maybe they would have paid Barkley and tagged Jones, or did it helped the Giants? I think are better off going this route. But
I mean,
did
I
that
think I,
mess
I
up
think
Barkley
they
as a person?
I think they did this just so they could bring them both back before the deadline, and then I think Barkley probably eventually gets his contract.
Yeah.
I think they did this just for the business aspect, because they had a deadline they had to meet, so they had to figure something out. So I think Barkley still gets paid.
And Giants, just so you know, Daniel Jones is guaranteed to be on your team the next 3 years. This year, if they would say they got mad and cut him, $82 million dead cap. Next year, 63 million. In 3 years, 18 million in dead cap, and then 4 years, 9 million. That's
I mean,
crazy.
I think Daniel
I
Jones
think he's
played.
fine.
I think he played well enough last year. He deserves a contract, or
Yeah.
he deserves another chance. Because I mean, what if he did finally figure it out? You don't want to trade him at that point.
So another guy who got a okay bag of cash, 3 years, 75 million. Who would have ever like? I would have lost a lot of money in Vegas, or if I was dumb, made a bunch of money. Geno Smith, 3 years, $75 million for a 33, 34, 35.
That was 3 years, $100 million.
Sorry, I missed the signing bonus. No, wait, let's see. I have 375 on the contract.
Oh, maybe I thought it was 3 for 100 something. Maybe I was wrong.
I'll look it up. There you go.
It
But
doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's just
375. Oh wait, 105 with that must be all of the incentives. So like the contract itself. So it must be 20. Must be 30 million in signing of some sort. On every site showing something different. He got a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. Money well spent.
I mean, maybe we'll see. I mean, it's Geno Smith. He's had one good year out of what's 8. So I mean, I'm the odds aren't in favor of Geno Smith, but maybe we'll see. I mean, I'm not excited about Geno Smith. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
I would
and we like him.
so going into next season, he's my QB2, right? I you better have a good backup plan.
It's a lot of money to pay a guy who should hand off the ball a lot. But then again, the other option was Drew Lock. So, I mean, it's the NFL what it is now. If you get a quarterback who's competent, you're going to pay him. And it's 3 years. 3 years is not that
I mean,
long in NFL
evidently
terms.
the cap's going to go. These guys are making so much money. The cap's going to go up, and you need a quarterback. And like I said, it's only if he ends up stinking it up. I mean, they're able to get out of the contract probably. I'm sure if they really want to. So just start all back over.
And two guys who are linked. Lamar Jackson got tagged, but he got the weird tag. The my brain is dead today. He got the tag that says another team could sign him to a contract. The
Non-exclusive tag or something.
thank goodness you're smart. The non-exclusive tag, meaning someone else could sign him away from there, and the Ravens match it or they don't. And then the Dolphins, which some people have been arguing, picked up the 5th-year option on Tua, which is I think 23 something like that $1 million for a quarterback with a googly head. Are those good choices for those two teams? I know your thoughts on one of two of those, but are they with where the quarterback market is?
I mean, I think if you're Miami, I think picking up his 5th-year option, it's not terrible. I mean, he played. He's shown. That he can produce, but of course the injuries are crazy, and it's only 1 year. I mean, you need a quarterback for next year, right? And it's not in the plans at the moment. So hey, let's stick with Tua. See what we got. If it works out, great. If not, it's only a year. I mean, we'll just figure it out next time. And then Lamar, I don't know what's going on there. I don't think he wants to be there. I don't know if I have no idea. Who knows?
Like that one, the Lamar thing, I think it is. I've talked to a bunch of people in person, just having conversations. Lamar's his own agent, which tends to be your own worst enemy. And then they're saying, hey, okay, Lamar, you think you're worth all this money? Go prove it. And then when he
Well,
doesn't get it, that gives them leverage to go, hey, look, they weren't going to pay you. We have this offer in the deal. They're offering him money. He just wants that Deshaun Watson stupid money because it's like like I said earlier, if they gave whoever someone a front loaded salary because they have the cap space, but it will mess up everybody else in the entire league, which is what the Deshaun Watson thing did, and people think they deserve it because
yeah,
Browns are
like I
stupid.
said, that's the business side of it that I don't. I mean, I'll listen to people talk. I try to understand it, but like I said, I don't. I don't know.
I think it's a
I mean,
challenge. It's really
I
their
mean,
challenge.
I think Lamar deserves to get paid, but he's also been injured the last couple of years. I mean, it's tough. I mean, that's a big decision. Do you really want to pay this guy all this money when you have injury worries?
NFL quarterback, what number would you say of the top 10? Where would Lamar fall? NFL or fantasy? Where would
I
Lamar be?
I think Lamar's 5 to 10. I mean, I don't think I couldn't put him any more. I don't think I could put him above that, but I mean 5 to 10 is still awesome. I would still love to have Lamar on my team, but maybe it could be a little higher if like the injuries wasn't there, but maybe he really wasn't injured. He just didn't want to get injured anymore, and he didn't want, I mean, I hope that's not the case, but
He wants to get injured, I
yeah,
think.
so I mean it's crazy situation, but I think it's 5 to 10. I'd be happy with Lamar.
Mid March 2023. Next year, mid March 2024, is Lamar Jackson going to be a Raven in 2024?
I'll say no. Like no, I'll say no.
Maybe it's because that put them together because there was a lot of talk in Miami about trying to get Lamar, maybe throw Tua in the trade, send him to Baltimore, throw some stuff at him, and I just think there are no smoke screens there. The other guy that got tagged was Evan Ingram. He looked good this year.
Yeah,
Not a
he
terrible
did.
tag. I think they'll sign him long term.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did enough. He deserves, contract opportunities. So yeah, I mean, if you got the money to spend, you need a tight end. I mean, he was just as good as anybody else, and you can only think that offense is going to get better.
Calvin
Um,
Ridley,
you
man.
know,
Oh,
I mean, so we'll see.
That should be a fun team to watch next year. Skimming over, we've been talking about him for a couple weeks. Carr got the deal with New Orleans finally after all this hullabaloo, and I think it was his final middle finger to the Raiders, saying, "Hey, you want to get rid of me? I'm not getting you a pick back from the team that I'm going to play for, so cut me." So I think that was a good move on Carr's part, to be honest. Saints knew that. He might have even said, "Hey, don't trade for me. Just wait, because now the Raiders get nothing."
Yep.
Speaking of interesting, did you see that the 49ers have 7 compensatory picks for the draft? So we'll get close to it. They got 7 based upon a lot of coaches that have signed for other teams.
Yeah, that's that. There's like you'll see like certain teams are really good at that. I mean, they kind of go for
It's
that.
that coaching pyramid thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Belichick. Of course, Belichick is probably really. I think he's really good at it. He does it a lot too. But yeah, I mean, if you can get him a third rounder for a guy leaving your team, I mean, why wouldn't you not do it?
Build them up, ship them out. So originally, the thought behind this episode was to make it about free agency, but as I mentioned earlier, and as we sort of talked, till most of you listen to this, we'll be knee deep in free agency. So we want to talk about guys that were already signed, where they go, and we'll get more into where people sign next week. Especially, we'll have almost the big signings that'll be going with them. But we're gonna just speed through a bunch of guys here, maybe make some quick predictions, and you can laugh at us while you're doing it. Go, you're already wrong. Or if this is a guy we want on our team, because usually free agency comes down to guys who were drafted late going to a second contract, or old guys that are getting cut and have played around for a while. And do you want to pay a running back for a second contract or that kind of a deal? So we're going to do sort of a speed round. I got a handful of guys here. I got a suggested for a team that I'm thinking it goes to. And then you say, maybe, maybe not. Or would you want him on your this is a whole dynasty. It'll be about dynasty 8 minutes is what we're going to look at. So Jimmy Garoppolo, most prognosticators are saying Oakland. Would you be comfortable with him as your super flex two quarterback in Oakland?
I mean, comfortable,
Monte
maybe.
Adams.
Excited, not really. I mean, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. He's never been a great fantasy quarterback. I mean, I'm just not. Jimmy Garoppolo does not excite me. If I'm a Raiders fan and we sign Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm like, cool.
All he does is win. The 49ers record with Jimmy
All
Garoppolo.
he
He's
does
the
is
winningest
win.
starter for them in years.
All he does is win.
And get hurt. Oh, I forgot get hurt. I forgot that last part. Sorry about that one. Jamal Williams in Detroit. Jamal Williams goes back to Detroit, right? He'd be foolish not to. He's like their heart and soul.
Yeah, I would probably say he goes back to Detroit. Yeah.
And he's not going to be on any of our teams next year. Well, Dynasty, yeah, because I got him. But he's going to be overdrafted like a champ. And he's probably, I'll put RB2 in here. I bet he falls to an RB3. There's no way he can do what he did this year, right?
I mean, if he's going to, he scores, he's got to score a lot of touchdowns. Not the yards, it's the touchdowns. And we all know what touchdowns.
Miles Sanders out of Philadelphia. Is Miami the best fit for? They need running backs galore. Signing him and then I didn't put a name in here, McKinnon. Would that be a good tandem for them, or do they throw? They're pushing their chips in. Do they push their chips into the Tennessee Titans, who are giving up everything, and see if they can get Derrick Henry?
I mean, if you can get Derrick Henry, I mean, go see if you can get him. I mean, I'd rather have Derrick Henry than Miles Sanders, but not really. I mean, Miles Sanders is my quarterback. I'm like, cool. I got a rotation, rotation running back, but Miles Sanders is okay.
In
I'd rather
Miami,
have Derrick Henry for a year, maybe. But
but
like,
Miles Sanders in Miami, RB3, RB2, high pace
what,
offense
like three, like in the
for dynasty.
division?
For dynasty, is he an RB3 or an RB2 if he goes to Miami?
Um, I'd say, I think he's like on that border. I think he's like 24, 25, 26.
Because there's a
I,
second guy that always messes it up.
Yeah, I still think there's
RB2.
going to be other people involved, other running backs involved.
Yeah, I've heard the name McKinnon a lot because of the connection to McDaniel. Because they brought him to San Francisco before he got hurt, and then he went off, and maybe he makes a little bit of dough on his. I mean, I think McKinnon should go back to Kansas City, but who knows what happens there?
I mean, if McKinnon's smart, he goes back to Kansas City.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's not smart
yeah,
anyway, but
smarter than us. Your boy Damian Harris. I have him resigning in New England or going back to visit Josh McDaniel and being a security blanket for Josh Jacobs on the cheap.
yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I don't think he goes back to New England. And I think that any team that's looking for a running back, I mean, I think Damian Harris is a good running back. I mean, he's proved it. I mean, he was a solid running back
Pretty cheap.
in New England. But why sign him when you've got a running back that's just as good as him? There's no real point at the running back position. So I think if he goes to Miami, that would be good. I mean, he's a good running. Any team that needs a running back, Damian Harris would be a good fit.
Yeah, we could put Miami for all of these guys.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's going to be Mostert and Wilson again, but because they're going to sign for cheap because they like it down there. Okay, I saw one that popped up just out of curiosity. Rashad Penny, captain injury. I saw Tampa Bay being a likely landing spot for him, not to be a one.
doesn't matter.
If you were Tampa and you could get him for like $2 million a year, would you use him get him as a backup or a change of
I'm not paying Rashad Penny $2 million a year.
1.5? You're not good with numbers, so you might.
Yeah, I might, but I can't see. I mean, it's just you can't. Why would you waste money on that? I mean, at some point you gotta be like, all right, not worth, you know, I mean, I don't know what $2 million really means to these guys.
15 cents.
So I mean, yeah, sure. If it means 15 cents, I throw 15 cents at. I throw
Here's the
15
guy I would kind of like to go to Miami, but I think he resigns. Is Alexander Madison. He's not a lot of tread. Decent back when he's played. This year he wasn't as great as usual, but not a lot of tread. He learned a lot in a good offense there, and he would be going into another fast-paced offense. I think it'd be interesting. But I think he resigns in Minnesota, right? Just because they know him and he knows the system and.
I mean, are you? I don't think he resigns. I think he wants to go somewhere else and play a little more. I don't think he, and I think he probably wants a little more money than. I think he wants a little more than backup money. And are the Vikings going to pay Dalvin Cook this year and Alexander Madison all that money? You only need to pay one running back. I
Unless you're
think he,
Dallas.
yeah, I mean, unless you're Dallas. I mean, it's possible, but I think he looks for a little bit more money. And then if it's not there, I guess he could come back.
David Montgomery play for the Bears this year?
Probably not. I wouldn't. I mean, I would think they trade him, or I'm not. What is he a free agent?
He's a
Free
free
agent, right?
agent. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna let him test free agents. They want
yeah.
him.
I think he
I'd
signs
play
somewhere
Khalil
else.
Herbert. I think it'd be foolish. Kareem Hunt. I have him going down to Atlanta to go with your boy to help with the young buck there and put him.
Yeah, I mean, it would give him like a passing threat out of the backfield. I feel like they already got that in Cordero Patterson. I don't think they really.
But he's
I
gonna be
think.
34, right? 33. He's gonna be
I
old.
mean, maybe, but he's still playing really good. I mean, 6, 7 touches a game is still 8. Well, sometimes he gets more than that. But I mean, I can see Kareem Hunt going there. I mean, like I said, they need that third down back, and if Patterson's not going
Probably
to be
32.
highly involved, then Kareem Hunt's a solid third down back. And he can fill in and do the job if somebody goes down.
On St. Patty's Day, he'll turn 32. Cordero Patterson. Happy birthday, Cordero Patterson. Listen to us on
Good for
Friday.
him, man. All this time waiting to break out in the NFL, and he finally does it.
Yeah, it's good to see. Here's another one. I have him, Leonard Fournette. Interesting spot I thought of for him because I think he's going to be cheap because he's got his money already. He wants to win. Philadelphia. Kenneth Gainwell getting more tread, so he doesn't have to. Leonard Fournette will get 10 touches a game and they'll be all pounding into the year with 10 touchdowns and 700 yards. And Kenneth Gainwell gets about the same, but 400 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, if um they said, "Hey, man, come to the Eagles for 30 cents," I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll give you Leonard
$4
Fournette
million,
30 cents."
man. Yes.
I'd give him. I mean, now you say $4 million. That sounds like a lot. Let's go like 20. Let's go 22 cents. Can you go
Oh, about two and a
like
half million.
yeah?
3.
Let's go like 2.5, 3 million. He is better than Rashad Penny,
Chase Edmonds got
but
6 million last year.
but yeah. If I'm
Think
running
about
the
that.
business, I
Think
don't want
about
to give
that.
Fournette more because look, I think Fournette needs the Eagles more than the Eagles need Fournette.
They
So
need a
if you're
big
going,
guy. So it's a matter of who are they?
I'm pretty sure they can go find a cheap one somewhere.
If in the draft, yeah, I mean that'd be a Madison spot too. Okay, real quick on receivers, we got Chark, Lazard, Juju, Jacoby, and Odell Beckham, OBJ. Anybody in there intrigue you? Here's a quick note of what I thought. Chark to Oakland just because they got money and they need another receiver. Lazard just a zag. Go to Minnesota. He can take the Adam Thielen role. Juju is young, goes to Carolina. Jacoby Myers to Chicago because he's a good, reliable guy to put him there with Chark and them. And OBJ, New York Giants. I don't think it happens, but those are my dreams. But any of those
Yeah,
guys
to the
intrigue you?
Giants. Yeah, to the Giants. Yeah. I think Myers to the Bears is okay, but like I said, the offensive ceiling is not going to be anything, so you're not really too excited if he goes to the Bears. Yeah, Lazard to Minnesota is okay. I mean, I don't
Juju
think
to Carolina's
yeah, Juju to Carolina is a good replacement for DJ Moore. I feel like they're about the same player. DJ Moore, I think, is
young. They
better
need
than
possession
Juju, but
receivers with a young quarterback. You don't need those long by guys. You don't need yet. You need possession receivers,
yeah,
which
I mean, that
yeah,
works. But then again, you just don't know how good the quarterback's going to be in Carolina. It's tough, man.
CJ Stroud. He's a big boy. So the last two I got are two tight ends, Schultz and Gesicki. I mentioned earlier in the show, Gesicki I have in Carolina because they need a pass catching tight end because then they'll have the blocker. They're going to run two, but a pass catch, that's all he can do. He can't block, save his life. And Schultz, best spot in the world, Justin Herbert's new favorite target.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I heard they're
It
going to.
would. I mean, it would work in for the Chargers. And what was the other one?
Gesicki
Gesicki?
in
I don't know.
Carolina.
I don't think you're out. I don't think Gesicki wasn't catching very many passes in Miami. I don't see him catching very many passes in Carolina either. So
Sweet. So we've been talking for a while, JJ Wang. We'll leave. We were going to talk a little combine, stock up, stock down. We'll save that for him next week.
all right,
I'm a little
but
talk.
run a little long here.
Get too excited with free agency. So next week we'll prove how wrong I was because I did all the predictions.
So let me get this straight. You made me work for nothing.
No, I made you not work next week for everything.
God, but I'm a procrastinator, man. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things to do.
But I can erase them.
So
You won't remember.
I got them all written down. It's all right here in front of it. Probably won't move until next week. It's gonna probably stay in the same spot.
You want to give him 5 more minutes?
Nah, it's fine. We can do it next week.
We love him, but we want to keep him thinking. Keep him thinking. We'll give a quick name that I've never heard of. Sam.
All right. Let's go with if you like big, fast wide receivers, a la DK Metcalf. Look out for Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia. All right, so he's 6'3", 221. So he's one of the bigger running backs. Ran a 4.38 for the
Even
40
receiver.
and a 40. Yeah, and yeah, he's a receiver and a 41-inch vertical. So he's an athletic freak, big dude, fast. Goes to the right team. I mean, DK Metcalf is all about saying he's DK Metcalf, but this is the kind of receiver that I like. I mean, if you can get him late second, early third, I mean, it's worth a dart.
Nice. I'm excited to hear. We'll have some more of them next week. We'll go over the excitedness of free agency. So JJ Wang, give us some wisdom, and we'll send our friends out for the week.
Yeah, it's going back to the Justin Fields trade and whether Carolina overpaid. Like, if you're going after that number one spot, you're probably going to have to overpay a little bit because I'm pretty sure there's several people might maybe go after that same number one spot. So it's the same thing in fantasy. You sometimes you got to sweeten the pot a little more than what you really want to make the deal complete. I mean, like, and in fantasy, you're not really paying for anything anyway. So if you can't take a chance in fantasy, where can you take a chance at, right?
Yeah.
So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.